Welcome to the group exhibit Hydrogen Fuel Cells Batteries at the Hanover Fair 2017. My name is Muriel Burkas, and I would like to invite you to have a seat and have some coffee or drinks. Today's presentation will be about the blue move for green economy. Presenting will be Jon Eriksen. He's project lead of UREC, and I'm very much looking forward to your presentation. Please come on stage. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, UREC is Oslo Renewable Energy and Environment Cluster. It's a membership organization. Private companies, R&D institutions, and public actors, R&D and education. I'm here to present to you a Blue Move project. It's an Interreg project that deals with hydrogen in the UX region. It's a 3-year project, public-private cooperation in low-carbon energy. The aim of the project is to promote increased use of renewable energy through hydrogen as an energy carrier. I'm here to present this report and the results from it. The purpose of making this report was to...
Please stand up on stage.
Okay, sorry about that. It's a bit hard to see the screen from here. But the purpose is to highlight possibilities regarding interaction between current business activities that we already have and hydrogen for transport. It's also the aim to provide a basis for politicians and decision makers, and to contribute to development of new business opportunities. The report is divided in 2 parts. In the general part, we explain the background and value chain, also the technology. We point out some field of utilization and safety. In the second part, there's 13 case studies where we look more specifically into the possibilities, opportunities for new business initiatives. Just to point out, when it comes to field of utilization, we give examples from maritime transport, aviation, train, buildings and so on, but what is very focused in Norway these days is this construction machinery and also emission-free construction sites. So you can read all about this in the report. When it comes to the case studies, they cover the whole value chain for hydrogen. But yeah, we had to limit ourselves, so this is kind of a selection of different opportunities, and it's more like to try to give you an idea or to present some initiatives that hopefully can generate new development of business cases and being kind of inspiration. So what we have already today is there's a lot of processes, business activities going around, and how can we see all these things, different kind of renewable input or private initiatives, reforming hospitals that need oxygen, could also be some kind of input to hydrogen and the development of a hydrogen infrastructure. So what we see today is that in this region we have some fueling stations around, but hopefully, like for instance a waste-to-energy plant, maybe that could contribute so that we can get more hydrogen stations in this region. From these 13 case studies that we have included, there's 8 that's focusing on production of hydrogen. It's small-scale hydropower, large-scale hydropower, wind power, solar power, reformation, and so on. And we have storage of hydrogen. It's an example of a small-scale distributed storage. I'll return to that later. We have large-scale storage. It's a comparative study where we compare liquefied hydrogen compared to high and low compressed hydrogen. And it's one case on distribution of hydrogen on transport. We see here a picture from Hexagon Composites. You take that as a business case. It's also this mention about hospitals where they actually need the oxygen. If you produce that oxygen from water electrolysis, then you can have hydrogen for free. Could be a nice opportunity to help out in building the hydrogen infrastructure. And there's also one economic case where we calculate the outcome or the effect of reduced electricity tax rate for hydrogen production. So what we take is that the energy is from renewable sources, and these renewable sources is the renewable sources you have to store subsequent to harvest. And in this case, from my point of view, it's water electrolysis becomes very important. And the main contributor to the production costs on the business case when it comes to water electrolyzers is the cost of the transmission, the production, and government use. So how you handle this, what you can do with these kind of different effects very much depends on how good will your business model be. So in November last year, this X station was opened in Norway. It's powered by PV panels from a neighboring building. And it's hooked up in a way that so it's inside the energy park where it's located. And in this way, we will get rid of the transmission fee. We still have the production fee that we have to pay for generating the energy. But in Norway, we have 2 different kind of rates. So it's a high rate and a low rate. And the last case that we have in this study shows how much this will be in percentage. And if we can run the project on this low rate, it will actually reduce the cost by 25% by hooking up this way. This is a private initiative in Sweden. This guy, he runs his house. It's based on PV panels, on solar collectors. Also geothermal energy is used as an input for his house. And his energy needs is met all year round. He also have a battery electric vehicle, and he plans to introduce also a hydrogen vehicle. But his main purpose is to store renewable energy from the summer to the winter. And he's doing that using water electrolyzers and with a small storage on ground. We also have, in the reported case, study on reformed hydrogen. This is co-generated hydrogen and electricity with integrated CO2 capture. So from a renewable point of view, this is, fits very well into the Blue Move way of thinking. It can take all kind of carbon-based gases as its input, and the efficiency is very high even with CO2 capture. But maybe the main point here is that it's a version of this is the so-called bioseg, where you take biomass as the fuel, and if you capture the CO2, this will be actually carbon negative. And that's very green. The last case I would like to show to you is this waste-to-energy plant outside Oslo. It's private and industrial waste comes here, it's burned, and from that they generate electricity and steam. So electricity that is generated could actually be used for production of hydrogen. And in this chamber, where they burn the waste, they sometimes need to use oil in order to keep the temperature right, because some of the waste that comes doesn't burn that easily, and they have no place to store it. So if they produce hydrogen, they can use that hydrogen into their own process. So one thing that we looked upon is that they produce hydrogen only for their own supply. The other case that we, or system configuration we looked into, is that we also add a refueling point for 20 buses. And then we try to look upon the techno-economical situation in both cases. And it's two things that is very important. At this site, they have a large need for storing energy for this oil. It's about it's 35 cubic meter of oil that is stored on site at all time. So this is a cost-driving component for the hydrogen for their internal use only. While when we add the 20 buses and we get some income, we have a different picture. So the cost of hydrogen per kilo drops off significantly when we also include these 20 buses. And if that's not good enough for this to be a business case, in addition, hydrogen can replace combustion of more than 1,000 liters of oil per day. So this is very important for this site to be clean. It's possible to download this presentation from this website, and it's a possibility for all of you to learn Norwegian and Swedish. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your presentation, Jon Eriksen. Warm applause. Are there any questions from your side? No? Okay, I think there are some reports available.
Yes. For those that want to learn Norwegian or Swedish, maybe. Okay.
Today.
today.
Okay, so he will also be available at the Norwegian booth. It's B60, right on the left side, if you have further questions later. Now there will be a short break at the technical forum. The next presentation will be at 12:20. It will be Mike Keane talking about fuel cell engines enabling zero emission and renewable energy mobility. Looking forward to this presentation and have a good break.